Welcome to Swift Lore Podcast, where we dive into the lyrics and lore of our Lord and Savior, Dr. Taylor Allison Swift.
Absolutely, that's why we're here.
I'm Kat.
I'm Abby.
And this week, we're crying.
Abby and Kat were born in 1997 and became best friends when they were 6. Grew up together and started a band and bonded over music ever since. 20 years later, they are all grown up and spend their free time analyzing lyrics. Now here they are talking all about their Lord and Savior, Dr. Taylor Allison Swift. Taylor, if you're listening, we love you.
Our Patreon launched.
Our Patreon launched.
It's live now. In between our songs, we'll do our first little mid-roll,
yes,
inserted after the fact moment where we read people's names.
Yes.
So that will be in this episode, and we're getting more and more stuff up on there.
I put out a song that I mentioned writing like episodes and episodes ago. So that's on the top tier along with Swift Lore After Dark as promised. We've got some clips there.
Yes, and I probably, once this episode goes out, I have a poem that's kind of related to the song I'm covering today, The Prophecy, that I'm going to put on there because it's a poem about Eve, and Eve mentioned.
Yeah, Eve mentioned. And then for the lowest tier, we also have, like, I put out a bunch of memes and text messages. The group chat is there, so it's really a good time.
It is. It's very fun. Yeah, we're out here.
We are. So today, the reason why we're crying today is because we're going to be covering two songs that make us cry and stare at a wall.
So, as I said, I'm covering The Prophecy.
And I'm covering The Albatross.
And we always try to dress like our songs, which is why I'm just wearing regular clothes that I wear, because Taylor actually wrote The Prophecy about me. It's actually not about her. It's about me. Do you want to explain your outfit?
Oh, right. I'm wearing a shirt that has a rose on it, because a rose by any other name will still be a scandal.
We'd love to see it.
It also says midnight. It says Midnight Romance on it. I don't know what it's from or why it says that, but maybe midnight, you know?
Maybe it's like a How Forever 21 just be saying shit on shirts.
It really, it fits the vibe is basically all that matters.
So,
Who's gonna go first?
why the fuck did I say so like that?
I don't quite know.
I don't know. It's been a weird day. There was a tornado warning at my apartment today, for the first time ever, and it was like one of those so like we live in upstate New York, which is like not a place where tornadoes happen usually. Mm-hmm. So getting a tornado warning was jarring, and like it was the kind of like the push notification where like I was just scrolling on TikTok and it was just like, bam, tornado warning, take cover. Do you have a basement? Get in there. Are you in a mobile home? You're fucked. Like it literally was just like, if you're in a mobile home, stop that. And I was like, okay. So then I made a little grab bag and put my dog in her harness, which she was pissed about because we were not going outside because of the tornado warning. But in her head, it's put on harness, go OUT.
Right.
I didn't say the actual word because she'll freak out.
Yeah.
But yes, then I made my grab bag, which was my personal item from when I last flew, because I had my passport in it already. But also like I haven't cleaned it out since I came back from vacation. So it's got like a neck pillow and like my like ID badge from the conference of my dad's that I was at. And then I put in, the essentials, my journal, my Kindle, my wallet, and my teddy bear that I got when I was 4 years old.
Literally, what else do you need?
I was like, do I have any granola bars? And then I was really distressed that I didn't have any granola bars.
What about a bag of marshmallows?
I didn't have any marshmallows, and I didn't even put in a sweater.
Oh, wow.
I cannot go to India forever. Oh my God. This is devastating.
Oh, gosh.
There's also a mouse in my wall.
Yes,
It's been a fucking week, you guys.
So Kat texted us about this mouse in the group chat, and both of us started calling it Evil Mickey. We didn't communicate about that.
She just goes, Evil Mickey, and I go, that's what I was calling it.
So anyway, Evil Mickey is in your walls, much like I am.
I know. I hit my teeth on the I've never done that before.
Oh, I have.
This is not my fucking week.
Oh my gosh. Oh, we're going to have a breakdown today.
I also, when I took Spear on her WALK in between thunderstorms today, I just listened to The Prophecy on repeat for the entire 20 minutes. So So that's the kind of energy we're coming at you with today. We're coming at you with Rat Wall. We're coming at you with Tornado Warning. We're coming at you with Prophecy on repeat, okay?
That's what we're here for. Are you ready?
Welcome to Rat Wall Lord. I put a Post-it note on my wall that said Rat Wall because, so I did it yesterday. I had to run out. So the rat, it's a mouse. It's not a rat. But mouse wall isn't as funny as rat wall.
No, rat wall really gets
rat
to me.
wall is really funny. So like the mouse appeared yesterday. I was sitting at my desk because of course it's the wall right behind my desk in my office, and it just starts squeaking away and scratching. And so I called maintenance and I was like, please, I don't know what to do. Please take care of this mouse. What the actual and like it's so like I was at my apartment for almost all day yesterday because I work from home, but I ran out for like half an hour to run errands, and I left like a sticky note on the door when I left that was just like free to come in. I left a Post-it note on the wall, and then it just said Rat Wall, and then I like. It's not that I forgot that I did it, but I kind of left it because I didn't think that they came, and then I thought it was funny. But then I called again this morning to be like, hello, there is still a small animal in my wall. And they were like, oh yeah, somebody came by yesterday. And I was like, oh no. I know that I put it there with the thought of somebody's going to see this. But also, then today they came back to give me some like mouse traps to put out, even though it hasn't been in my actual apartment. And the guy came over and I was like, yeah, like this is the wall. And then I'm just like taking the Post-it note off and just crumpling it up.
Can I please just add that this is the same wall that the printout of Oyster smiling is on?
The mouse just loves Paul Rudd.
I mean, me too. So that's fair.
Like, me and the mouse could be homies if he would just stop being so fucking annoying when I'm trying to work. Because like yesterday it was like, it's like I had an internal clock. It was like every hour for like 10 minutes. It was like, like those clocks that do like an elaborate little song.
Yes.
Like every hour. This was just
time.
like the same as like the person who's playing Hot to Go on the church bells. Like that, just as distracting, but much less fun.
Oh.
It was just every hour. It would just squeak for like
Evil
10 minutes.
Mickey.
Evil Mickey. And it's been quiet since this morning, which is almost more concerning.
Yeah.
Because if it dies in the wall, then they have to open the wall, or else it'll smell.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that. But I'm gonna shut the fuck up about Rat Wall.
Because we have so much to talk about.
So much to talk
These
about. I've
songs
wasted
are not-
10 minutes on fucking Rat Wall.
It's okay. You really needed it. I could tell that you needed that.
I did. I've been dealing with a lot of Rat Wall. Do you want to go first?
Yeah.
Or do you want me to go first? I can go first.
I went first last week.
Okay, I'll go first.
Okay.
My diary. Just kidding. The Prophecy.
That was good.
I didn't even pre-plan that one. That was off the
That was
dome.
a good bit.
Sorry, I put on my text. It is, Buzz, hello, I'm here.
Oh, yeah.
Because Abby has to get buzzed up, but Spear
You
freaks
know, it
out
didn't
if the buzzer
matter
goes off.
Because someone opened the door for me the minute you let me in. I know.
Classic. Classic, my neighbors being nice.
Classic nice neighbors. No complaints.
Classic. So the Prophecy is track 26 on the Tortured Poets Department. This song was written and produced by Aaron Dessner and Taylor Swift. And there is literally no other information about this song anywhere on the internet. There's no Wikipedia page for it. There's no anything. She hasn't talked about it in any interviews or anything. She has only performed it once as a surprise song on June 2nd, 2024, mashed up with Long Story Short. It was the guitar surprise song. And it was a hate crime that I wasn't there. She performed The Prophecy and Long Story Short during Pride Month.
Yeah, we should have been
wasn't there.
We should have been there.
I was about to start singing that too. In terms of my personal connections, we don't have time to unpack all of that. I'm laughing extra because before we started recording, Abby was like, we don't have time to unpack all that. And I was like, did you read my notes?
I love that. Also, well, I do know one thing for you is that after the song came out, there were a lot of Percy Jackson TikTok edits to this song.
Oh my God, the Percy Jackson of it all.
And then there was a Buffy one that you sent me, and I was like,
because of course, yeah. This song, it's so like every chosen one trope is just this.
yeah.
But yeah, and in turn, just like personal connections, like I am somebody who's just like, the universe will figure it out. It's going to be fine. But sometimes the universe is a little bitch and it's not moving fast enough. And you're just like, is it time yet? Please. Let it once be me, perhaps.
Yeah.
Overall, my lyrical interpretation of this song is this is Taylor's most Joe March coded song to date. The scene of like, but I'm so lonely. That's this.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I need an edit of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
But also this is just like about feeling like you're getting all these things that you wanted, but also not having the like emotional fulfillment because you don't have a partner. And as you get older, like friendships are still super important, obviously, but like when all of your friends start getting in relationships and start pairing off and have a partner that they like are close with and like rely on and love and everything, it's like hard to be the only single one, which is why I'm so glad that both of us are single. Because otherwise I would have to date.
This podcast is over.
It's over. I'm gonna be so bitchy all the time, as opposed to now when I'm never a bitch. I like the level of duress you were under.
People who are watching the gaze that I just got from Kat.
I was like, right?
The glare.
It's all of it. It's all of it. I know I'm a
It is
bitch
all
and
of
I'm
it.
proud.
Oh, you're actually so nice. That's the crazy thing. I was thinking about this literally today because you're so nice, actually.
Stop saying that about me. What about my street cred, Abigail?
It's all a ruse. It's all a lie.
Yeah, we get off camera and I'm just like adopting kittens everywhere. I'm getting them out of trees and I'm getting them into loving homes. I did see a stray cat yesterday, but I have so many notes. I need to stop. I need to stop being so silly.
Okay. Okay.
Hand on the throttle. So I had to Google exactly what a throttle was because like I know it's a car thing, but a throttle is like what the gas pedal controls. It's something with airflow and a lot of engineering talk that I, an English major, just didn't want to tolerate. So it's also like on a motorcycle, like the handle that you turn that makes you go, that's the throttle. So the hand on the throttle is like she's trying to control the speed that a relationship's going at. Like she's hand on the throttle, doesn't want to lose control, doesn't want to freak them out, doesn't want to like, go too far, too fast. Would it be enough if I could never give you peace? Like this idea of like her knowing the limitations of being with her.
See, I was thinking that it's how her relationship, sometimes she talks about how quickly they just like take off.
Yeah. But it's like she's trying to like hold back on it, like hand on the throttle. Like she's still accelerating, but she's in control of it. Like she's got her hand on it. But then also the only other song where she says throttle is So High School.
True.
Full throttle. So like that's kind of showing that in comparison in that relationship she doesn't have to hold back. She doesn't have to feel like she's tempering herself. But here she's still hand on the throttle.
That's a good point.
Thought I caught lightning in a bottle. Oh, but it's gone again. Fucking brutal.
Yeah.
Fucking brutal. Like catching lightning in a bottle is a theoretical experiment that Ben Franklin, maybe Thomas Jefferson, I can't remember. I read the Wikipedia and then I immediately deleted it from my mind.
I think you meant
Old
Edison.
dead white guy. Well, no, it wasn't Edison though, who was like trying to prove like something with like electricity and like tried to catch lightning in a bottle to prove that lightning was electricity. But like it never actually happened, I don't think. So like she thought she had this magical, impossible relationship, but in reality, she didn't. It was just like a trick. It wasn't actually lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
Because it's just gone again already. Like Howard claimed he was a lion, like that.
Yeah. This whole album is about suddenly this thing that she thought was going to be forever has been taken away.
Yeah. And it was written, I got cursed like Eve got bitten. Okay, so Eve didn't get bitten. Eve bit the apple. So like it's like she's doing this sort of like role reversal and agency like stripping in a way. And it's so interesting because throughout the song she says like a better woman, a good woman, like a greater woman, like all these like, and talks about this kind of like ideal woman and like the way that the ideal woman acts. And like Eve in the Bible is like the original sin is that God was like, here's the Garden of Eden, it's everything you could ever want and you're gonna be happy forever, just don't eat this fruit tree, this is the forbidden fruit tree. And then the devil is just like, hey, but what if you ate the fruit, because then you would know stuff. And she was like, oh, I want to know things. And so then she and Adam, which don't talk about that enough, both eat the fruit, and then she gets blamed for it, and that's the original sin was committed by a woman. So that's like a lot of deep-rooted misogyny in Western Christian-based cultures. Anyways, but so Eve, I got cursed like Eve got bitten. So Taylor kind of cursed herself by pursuing her career and pursuing like the levels of fame that she's at. She's kind of like shot herself in the foot in a way, because there's so much that comes along with being in a relationship with her that's not just being with Taylor, it's being with Taylor Swift trademark. Oh, was it punished? So like I got cursed like Eve got bitten. Oh, was it punishment? So like there's kind of debate about, like, obviously getting cast out of Eden is what happens to Adam and Eve when they eat the fruit, and then they also are cursed with like mortality and the ability to feel pain, and like Eve is additionally cursed with the responsibility of childbirth. We don't have time to go into all my opinions on that. Do what you want. I'm not doing that. But like humanity as a whole would not exist without Eve's mistake. Like it would have just been Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden forever, because childbirth was not a thing. So like it was inevitable, because it's always the way that the world was going to end up becoming like populated, whatever. But it's so interesting that we're like, oh, the original sin, it's so bad. And it's like, but like if you're a following Christian ideology, which whatever, I took a Bible as literature class in college, and I'm kind of pulling all of my knowledge off of
that's
reading.
a really interesting class.
It was really interesting reading it as a work of fiction and talking about like the cultural impact and everything. But like, so it's just like the way that the lyric is, oh, was it punishment? So like, was it punishment for Eve to get knowledge, to become mortal? Like, is our existence now just punishment for a mistake made millennia ago? Like, it's just such an interesting philosophical question that's just like a throwaway line in this song.
Wow. Yeah, you're so right. I mean, I never thought about that at all, but yeah.
One of my favorite poems of all time is called Autobiography.
Oh, yeah?
It's called Autobiography of Eve by Ansel Elkins. And it's basically like a reclaiming of the narrative from Eve's perspective. And it has like one of my favorite last couple of lines of a poem, and it's, let it be known, I did not fall from grace, I leapt to freedom.
Ooh.
So like that whole idea is kind of in my mind whenever I like hear stuff about Eve, is like we only know the Bible from, you know, this very obviously removed version, and there's so many different but there's always punishment for women who dream too much and who want too much.
Yeah, definitely. And that ties into all the other songs that we've covered already, where that goes into misogyny and tearing women down.
Yeah. Pat around when I get home. I don't know why this line was in there. I'm going to be honest. Like, she gets home and she's like, to me, like, patting around your house just implies a level of like comfort and familiarity with this idea of like being home alone and just kind of patting around.
This is my least favorite line of the song.
Yeah, I don't really get it. I'm going to be honest. Like, I don't have anything that deep to say about it. She's just like haunting her own house, patting around, like pacing.
I think pace around when I get home would have been more fitting, but I'm also not Taylor Swift, so.
Yeah. Pace around when I get home. I don't know. I guess a lesser woman would have lost hope. Like, her ability to bounce back is how her career has lasted this long, and she references it in like, look what made me do. I'm me. I rose up from the dead. I do it all the time. But then in Labyrinth, like, I know that everybody just expects me to bounce back just like that. Like she has created this career off of reinventing herself and bouncing back and being something new and something fun and fresh because, you know, she feels like, well, you still like me when I'm nothing new. And like she's built this entire career off it, but that's got to be so exhausting. And like at the same time, that hope and that ability to like bring herself back up and like hope that things are going to work out is how she's gotten this far. And she kind of like cursed herself to always have to be hopeful because of the way that she's built her entire life around it.
Wow. Well said.
A greater woman wouldn't beg.
The juxtaposition of those two lines is very painful.
Because it's just like, if I was a worse person, I would have given up on love by now. And if I was a better person, I would not be so desperate for it. It's just like,
oh, God, ow,
ouch,
oh,
ouch, Taylor.
Lord,
that's so
mercy.
fucking rude. Like, how dare she? How dare she do this? Like, desperate women who want and like desire and like are desperate for things are so often villainized and looked down on because it's like, oh, like good women like take what they're given and like don't protest and they don't try to get more than they deserve, like all this stuff. And it's just like, you know, in Mad Woman she talks about like a good wife always knows, like Master of Swing has a couple side flings, a good wife always knows. And like that's, to be a good wife you have to accept your husband's infidelity, like all these like. And it like, if she was the ideal version of a woman, she wouldn't be begging for love. And if she was like the hashtag girl boss that people think she is, she wouldn't be struggling like this. And yeah, I just did but I'm so lonely. Joe March was just like,
yeah,
I'm happy with my life, but also everybody pairs off and everybody like moves on from when you're just like a kid and like with your best friends. And then you also are like, please let me also be in love. So a greater woman wouldn't beg, but I looked to the sky and said, so just like, it's interesting because obviously she references Eve, but she's not saying here that she's praying. She's like looking to the sky and saying like, please, the whole chorus, we'll get there. There's a lot to unpack. But like she knows that just like talking to the sky, like you don't expect a response. You're not going to get a response when you're praying, not the way that like, it's not a conversation. Like eventually sometimes prayers are answered, but it's not like somebody's head pops out of the cloud and it's just like, yeah, you got it. Let me keep this up, you know?
Right.
So she knows she won't be able to hear anything back, but she's still so desperate that she's just like, but what if this works? And this is the thing that finally ends me being lonely and desperate for love. So now the chorus. Please, I've been on my knees, change the prophecy. When you're on your knees, you're begging, you're praying, you're giving up control, like just so desperate. And like praying is just begging the universe to listen to you. So that's just, she's just begging. She's begging for the universe to hear her and to let her have this.
And she's already resigned that this is how it's going to be because she's calling it a prophecy.
Yeah, and the thing with prophecies is that you don't know, like a lot of times prophecies are phrased as like riddles or just something confusing where you can only fully understand it when you're looking at it in retrospect. Because like I think of this like Percy Jackson is a good example. Every single book has a prophecy. In every single book, they're like, this line clearly means this, and then it doesn't. Like there's at least one of those in every single book of like all the Percy Jackson and spin-offs and everything. So like misunderstanding prophecies is also often part of the prophecy is misunderstanding it. So like she's saying change the prophecy, but at the same time, like prophecies are often misunderstood. So she's saying change the prophecy, but we don't even know what the prophecy is. She never says what it is.
I think it's ending up alone.
I think it is too, but like I want to know like what the wording of this prophecy is. I just think about like there's something where her mom was talking about how when Taylor's mom was talking about when she was younger, her mom went to like a psychic and the psychic was just like, one day everybody in the world is going to know your daughter's name. And Mrs. Andrea Swift was like, my daughter is going to get kidnapped. Like, that is, because, I mean, realistically, the odds of your daughter becoming the most famous musician of all time and your daughter getting kidnapped, one is a lot more likely than the other.
Yeah.
So, like, that's, I don't know. But that's one of those, that's a prophecy that, like, immediately misunderstood. Like, that's I proved my own point through anecdote. Don't want money, just someone who wants my company. Like, she has the fame, she has the fortune, but it just reminds me of, like, the scene in the Miss Americana documentary where she talks about winning the Grammy for Album of the Year for 1989, and it's just like, this is all you wanted, this is everything you wanted, and now you're just alone and you don't have anything to fall back on.
Yeah.
And this is kind of that same thing of, like, she has everything, but she would give away all of the money if it's just like, she just wants somebody who wants to be with her and who just enjoys being with her and not with Taylor Swift TM.
Yeah, it reminds me of two other songs. There's Good Money I'd Pay For You to Just Know Me from High Infidelity. But what's the one where she says, spending my last coin for them to tell me I'm going to be okay?
This one.
Is it literally? As I said it, I was like, it's this one, isn't it?
It's this one.
Okay, sorry, I'll shut up.
No, it's fine. Some people have brain space dedicated to things besides an encyclopedic knowledge of every Taylor Swift song. You know what? That's good. It's good.
I'm like, I know that it's in one of the Tortured Poets songs. It's this one. Okay, cool. Cool.
Let It Once Be Me. Taylor, Miss Swift. I already talked about this, but, like, getting older is just watching all of your friends pair off and, like, get into relationships and fall in love and get married and, like, build lives, which is wonderful, and it's amazing to see your friends, like, be happy and be in love. But also, when you're the only one without a plus one at a wedding, like, that shit hurts.
Yeah.
It's not ideal. It's not fun. And it's, like, very isolating because then, you know, your problems and the problems of all of your friends are different because you're in different places, even though you're friends. That was so eloquent. Who do I have to speak to? Taylor Karen Swift. Striking again.
You know, again with the sorry, the processing in my head, I was like, her middle name's Allison.
You're like, it's in the theme song, Kat.
It's like, what are you talking about, man? Oh, that's funny. Okay. Yeah.
Who do I have to speak to about if they can redo the prophecy? So, like, she, at the beginning of the course is like, can we change the prophecy? Can we just make a couple edits? And this one's just like, do it over. Redo the entire thing. I don't want any of this. Redo it. Start from scratch. Redo the whole prophecy. But the thing about prophecies is that you can't change them and you can't avoid them. Like, oftentimes, it's the most tragic stories that include prophecies are when people are trying to dodge the prophecy and then make it about themselves because of their actions. Like Oedipus, like, in that story, Oedipus's parents get a prophecy that's just like, oh, someday your son is going to kill the father and marry the mother. And they're like, oh my God, that's terrible. We're just going to exile our son. But then because their son didn't know his true parents, he comes back into town, and then on his way in, the king, his father, like, confronts him, and they fight, and he kills his father. And then he gets into town, and he's just like, hello, just killed your king. I guess I'm king now. Time to marry the queen. And then later they're just like, that's your mom. And then she kills herself.
I don't know if I ever knew the whole story.
That is the whole Oedipus story.
Wow.
So trying to avoid the prophecy is what made the prophecy come true. If they had just, like, raised their own child, if they had never known about the prophecy, it wouldn't have happened. But part of the prophecy's meandering path included finding out what the prophecy was.
Wow.
So, yeah. So she wants to avoid the prophecy, but prophecies got built-in avoidance mechanisms.
Yeah.
So now the second verse. Cards on the table, mine play out like fools in a fable. So obviously, since the song is, you know, the prophecy and it's about fortune stuff, anytime I was like, oh, cards, it must mean tarot cards, especially the Fool, which I'm taking off my sweater because I'm hot, but I did also just reveal my tarot card, the Fool tattoo.
Sneaky. Mastermind.
It honestly was not on purpose. I'm just overheated. I made it as long as I could in my Tortured Poets Department sweater. But the tarot card of the Fool represents new beginnings, innocence, and like leaps of faith. So she's got her cards on the table and she's just coming from like this innocent place, this fresh start, trying to like start another relationship, cards on the table, just being very open about things. But mine play out like fools in a fable, and fables usually the fool, the person who's messing up is like, the audience is supposed to learn a lesson from the fool in a fable who's doing the stupid thing.
Yeah.
That then they're learning a lesson and we, by extension, are also learning a lesson.
It also makes me think of Dear Reader with No One Sees When You Lose When You're Playing Solitaire. Like with cards on the table.
Yes. And also, in Foolish One, my cards are on the table, yours are in your hand. Like, she's never hidden the truth of who she is, and now she's unable to avoid how that plays out because she's been so open about it. And then also like the archetype of the Fool in Shakespeare, which I think I've talked about this before. If I haven't, I just talk about it a lot in my real life. But the Fool is the only character who can speak the truth to nobility in Shakespeare plays. And in the tragedies, the Fool dies. So King Lear, the Fool dies in the middle of the play. And that's kind of like the big turning point because like the representation of truth has just died. Also in Hamlet, the like, alas, poor Uric, I know him well. The speech with the skull, that was a fool. And also in early depictions or in early iterations of the Fool tarot card, it was a beggar before it was a jester.
Oh, wow.
So a greater woman wouldn't beg, and now she's got another beggar ref. So mine play out like fools in the fable. Oh, it was sinking in. Oh, whoa. Just like the more times that you're told like this is how things are going to go, like you're never going to find love because you're so famous and every man is going to be intimidated by you and every man like is going to hate you because you're so annoying, blah, blah, blah. Like the more that you hear that, the more that it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right.
Slow is the quicksand. Like it's sinking in slowly, her kind of accepting, I'm doing air quotes, this fate, but also like trying to fight against it. But also with quicksand, the more that you move and the more that you struggle, the faster that you sink into it. So like her options are either try to struggle and just be pulled into this prophecy more quickly, or stand still and just know that your fate is still coming and that you're still eventually going to get trapped, but just have more time to try to figure out a plan to get out. But at the same time, it won't really change your fate. It will just delay it. Poison blood from the wound of the pricked hand. So Genius pointed out that this is probably a reference to Sleeping Beauty, another prophetic story where they were like, oh, you're going to get pricked by something and then go into like 100-year sleep. I guess we'll just hide all the pointy stuff. And then that doesn't work. And then she pricks her finger and then goes into the deep sleep that only a true love's kiss can wake her up from. But poison blood from the wound of the pricked hand implies that like the blood was poison. It wasn't pricking her finger that put her to sleep. It was like the release of her poison blood into the world kind of an idea. Like, so her hand getting pricked, like, released the curse.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And, like, she was always going to fulfill this prophecy of pricking her finger. It was in her blood. It was her fate. Just like with Taylor, anyone who dates her is going to face extreme public backlash and, like, so much speculation and so much yapping from people with podcasts.
It's just what my song is about.
Yap, yap, yap.
Yap, yap, yap.
I'm a certified yapper. What can I say?
Storming the Yapital.
Abby had her birthday party over the weekend and we were playing like one of those Jengas where like there's different prompts on it, and it was like turn to the person next to you and tell a secret, and I was just like, I don't have secrets. I am a yapper. Yeah. Especially because like you're there. I'm like, I don't have any secrets. This is Abby.
No, that's true. I know everything.
Whether you want to or not. So poison blood from the wound of the pricked hand. Oh, still I dream of him. This is the first time that like him is mentioned, or like really anything implying a romantic relationship. Like up until this point, it hasn't really said like that she wants to be in love. It's just like the vibes are just so yearny.
Mm-hmm.
The yearning is off the fucking charts. Oh my God. And the thing is, she's not even yearning for a person. She's yearning for a feeling, which is even more intense. But also it like makes me wonder if this is an actual him or like a theoretical him. Like I still dream of a man that I'm going to fall in love with. Like she's playing out this unavoidable fate, just like Sleeping Beauty. But she's hoping that the prophecy can be redone or changed with a true love's kiss, like in Sleeping Beauty.
Holy shit. There's so much in this song that I just haven't.
There's so much stuff that like I didn't even fully consciously realize until I was going through the lyrics, and I was just like, damn, Taylor.
Wow.
Damn, Taylor. And the chorus is the same this time. And then the bridge. And I sound like an infant. Like wanting things loudly and clearly is something that women are conditioned to not do as they grow up. And it's like, please picture me in the trees.
Yep. I was just thinking of
like
7.
the idea of like, when did we stop screaming in grocery stores?
Mm-hmm.
Like, when did we stop saying what we wanted?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's so many examples of like people who, as you get older, like you try to ask like a woman, like, what do you want for your birthday? And they're just like, oh, I don't know what I want. It's like they do know what they want, but they don't want to say it because it's so much more disappointing when you say what you want and then it doesn't happen than if you never admit what you wanted, because then you can blame yourself for it.
That's such a specific example, but you're so right for that.
But like it happens in a lot. Like I've seen it. It's not just like I've experienced it personally, but also I think that's a big thing with like a lot of women, because we're told wanting things is obnoxious. It's annoying to talk about what you want all the time and your dreams and your aspirations, and that's so annoying. That's why a greater woman wouldn't beg, but she's not a greater woman. She's being a baby. She's sounding like an infant because she's just still talking about what she wants. Feeling like the very last drops of an ink pen. Taylor.
Wow.
Like the desperation of trying to get your pen to last to the end of your thought, and like knowing that it probably isn't going to last that long. She's all used up and she's trying so hard just to get her point across before she can't anymore. Will you still love me when I'm nothing new? A greater woman stays cool, but I howl like a wolf at the moon. Like, again, she's comparing herself to this idealized, the perfect woman. Honestly, it's very fitting that we're covering this right after that op-ed came out from whatever bitch-ass man that was like, Taylor Swift isn't a good role model for women, actually, because she's 34, and how many children has she made? I want him to suffer. But a greater woman would have said, like, I'm fine with being alone, or, like, it'll happen when it happens. But Taylor wants, and she knows what she wants, and she's, like, a wild animal, a wolf howling at the moon, begging, staring at the sky, asking for what she wants.
Yeah.
And I look unstable. Me every day. Me every day. But also, like, she knows what she's doing isn't what people usually do, but she just doesn't care.
Mm-hmm.
She knows that she looks unstable, and she's gathered with a coven around a sorceress table, which, like, she's so desperate for love that she is resorting to, like, literal or theoretical witchcraft, just trying to change this prophecy. And she's going to these incredible lengths in an attempt to get the love that she wants so desperately.
I feel like I'm not interjecting very much because everything you say, I'm just like, I can't possibly add anything or say that any better than you just said it.
I have opinions and I have thoughts and I want things. I am not a greater woman. A greater woman has faith. Again, like, this, like, the greater woman is faithful. She's cool. She doesn't beg. She doesn't want things. She doesn't reach for things. She's just fine with accepting the way the world is and never trying to do anything to change it or anything to move herself forward. Like, she's okay with being, 3 steps behind a man for the rest of her life.
Mm-hmm.
But even statues crumble if they're made to wait. I saw a tweet about this and I cannot find any facts to back it up. So I don't think that it's true, but they're like, oh, in the TTBD library installation, the Spotify one, there was a statue and somebody was like, oh, it's Diana of Ephesus, which was like this Diana who is that's a Roman version of Artemis in Greek mythology, that allegedly is like the statue that was waiting to be transported to London and like crumbled, which I would believe because the British fucking love stealing shit. They love it. They're just like, give me it. Oh, is that a priceless artifact? That's mine now because I'm in charge. But yeah, just the idea of like statues, we think of statues as these like big, huge monuments that are everlasting, but like they'll last for our lifetime, but they'll eventually, if you don't do the proper upkeep and you don't do the maintenance and you just leave them to let the weather hit them and like let the world do what it will, it's going to crumble. Just like this greater woman is just supposed to let life happen to her, but eventually it'll crumble and eventually the want and the needs and the like inner life will come forward.
Yeah.
And then she's no longer a greater woman. I'm so afraid I sealed my fate. Like, again, with the idea of like prophecies are unavoidable. That's the entire thing. And she's just like, how far into the prophecy am I? Did I seal my fate? Is there no way that I can go back and like no way to undo this and like find happiness? So like she doesn't know if it's still possible to find love or if she's really cursed to be alone. No sign of soulmates. Go a moment of levity. Riff on soulmate AUs for a hot minute. I just want you to know what my notes.
I don't know. We have time.
I don't think we do, but you know what? You at home, riff on some soulmate AUs. So back to depression.
Think about it and then get back to us, okay?
So we're gonna go back to being sad. Like there's no sign of soulmates. There's no invisible string. Were there clues I couldn't see? No, there's not. She's just like, actually, I'm just alone forever. So like she thought she would have met somebody by now, but she hasn't, and she's still alone. No sign of soulmates. I'm just a paperweight. Like this line I feel like is very easy to be overlooked, but when I was listening to Prophecy on repeat while I was taking the dog out, I was like, just the idea of like being a paperweight, which is just like a completely useless thing. And it's like, I've definitely seen movies where it's like the butt of the joke is like somebody gets a paperweight for somebody else and they're like, this is the worst gift ever. Like this is the worst thing. Like who the fuck uses a paperweight? Like all the paperweights are for is like looking pretty and sitting on top of paper so that they don't fly away. Like vaguely useful piece of home decor.
That like people don't really even buy them anymore.
Exactly, because like why would you buy a paperweight when you could just like put something heavy that you already own on a piece of paper? Like also, why is it so breezy that you need a paperweight? Like what is happening? Do you have like a like fan pointed directly at your desk?
I didn't know how passionate we'd be about this, but now I'm in it.
Like I like nobody, and that's the thing is like they're useless. Like and that's just the idea of that like women have been used as like props for centuries. They're the muse, or they're like the like thing at a man's side while he's doing all the work. Like they're just paperweights. They're just decor, and they're not actually like adding anything to life. In shades of grayish, like gray beige, which
why?
is the color scheme of TTPD, but more importantly, it's fucking ugly. Grayish is not an attractive color. Like she's just saying like, I'm a paperweight in shades of grayish. Like she's so like camouflaging herself into like this piece of paper. Like she's just becoming the decor. She's fading into the background because like no sign of soulmates. I'm just a paperweight in shades of grayish.
I don't love the use of the word grayish.
I know, but like it can be forgiven because the song is a masterpiece.
No, I will absolutely forgive it. I'll forgive every there's literally no flaws in the song. But I don't love grayish.
Oh, I just remembered something I forgot to say, because very quietly at the beginning of the song is 1, 2, 3, 4, like almost under the, I think it's a man's voice. Where else is there 1, 2, 3, 4? I can do it with a broken heart.
That's true.
So she's doing it with a broken heart. Here, she's just being more brokenhearted about it. Spending my last coin so someone will tell me. Like, she'd get rid of all of her money if she can just be happy and be in love, and that someone will tell her it'll be okay. Like, and also that idea of going to like a psychic or something and just being like, tell me that my future is going to be good. Like, do my tarot reading, but also make it so that I'm happy at the end.
It's also interesting because when I listen to this song, thinking about myself, I think about like therapy, like spending my last coin in therapy.
Damn.
Well, you know, because mental health care is really expensive and a lot of therapists can't take Medicaid, which is what I'm currently on because I'm a grad student. And so therefore I can't go to therapy unless I pay a bunch of money.
Healthcare in America is prison.
Anyway, that's what
We should get married. I have really good health insurance.
We got to marriage real quick from that.
That's why we should get married,
let's
right?
get married just so I can go to therapy is what you just said to me.
Hey, there's other uses for health insurance. You get like new glasses or something.
True.
Your glasses are very cute.
This is sounding better and better.
And here on air, the least romantic proposal.
It's the second time one of us has proposed to the other on air.
I'm like, I don't have any jewelry other than the one I'm wearing. Do I propose?
Are you gonna give me scissors?
No! They're very pretty scissors.
They are.
Anyways, so to tell me it'll be okay, like she just wants things to be okay. She doesn't need to be assured that she's gonna be happy and she's gonna be like so in love and it's gonna be fairy tale romance. She's just like, just tell me that it's gonna be okay. Like that's all I want to know. And then we're back to the chorus. That's the end of the bridge. There's some oohs that really hit.
Ooh.
Exactly.
Did that hit anyone listening?
Hit me right in the feels. So then the chorus, but she adds an extra line to the end of it. So after about it, they can redo the prophecy. She says, who do I have to speak to change the prophecy? So she's like kind of combining the first and second halves of the chorus of like, I've been on my knees, change the prophecy. And then who do I have to speak to redo the prophecy? So she's like, who do I have to speak to change the prophecy? She's right to the point. And it's also the idea that she can rephrase things however many times that she wants to. Like she can say the same thing in 100 different ways, but all that she wants is this prophecy to change. And then we have the outro, which is just a majority of the first verse said again. So like she's back to the beginning. She's in this cycle, like in a lot of her songs, where she's just circling back to the top and like thinking things through. But this time she doesn't have the like, I got cursed like Eve got bitten, oh, was it punishment lines. But this time she doesn't think that she's cursed herself in this outro, but she's still begging. She's still the lesser woman. She's still pleading with the universe to let the lightning in the bottle be real this time. And then she just ends on please. And it's just like this one last plea for the prophecy to change, and it's so painful, and she just wants to be happy.
Yeah, this song is so good.
It's so good, and it's so ouch.
Yeah.
And I yapped for like 40 minutes about it.
You did, but it was worthy. And I know that you've always ranked this as a top song for you on this album. It's a top song for me too. It's my number 3. But it honestly, that's just because listening to it pains me so much that I can't like, you know, Down Bad is still my...
Fair enough.
So sorry.
It's your favorite or your least favorite?
Down Bad is people wouldn't put that as their favorite, I don't think, but it's my favorite.
That's valid. I think this is my favorite off Tortured Poets. This has been since like after my first listen, I think.
Yeah, this one immediately resonated with you.
Because when is it my turn?
And it resonated
Universe
with a lot of people. So we love that at least we're not, you know, alone in
True.
that.
My discussion question: what is a self-fulfilling prophecy that you have dealt with in your life, where you're like, oh, this is gonna happen, and then it does because you said it was going to?
This is a deep answer, but I'll be honest. There's a history of depression and anxiety in my family. And I remember growing up, my mom being like, this runs in our family and it's probably going to happen to you. And then it did. And I remember, you know, at 15 years old, my mom being like, okay, so remember that thing I told you about? So it's happening. So now we're going to like get you some support for that. And I'm so thankful that that was the reaction and the support that I got from my family at the time. But that's what that makes me think of.
I wrote down the question and then I did not think about an answer at all. But I'm certain that there is something.
Me, I'm just like, I'm depressed.
Who can relate?
Actually, if you can relate, say I. You know what's crazy is I went to the doctor on Monday and I had to fill out like those little screeners for anxiety and depression. My depression's at a 0.
Wow. Okay, Slay.
I know. My anxiety, different story. But my depression is at a 0.
We choose our battles and we fight them.
Anyway, so yay. I'm so happy about that. I'm literally not depressed about that.
I'm so not depressed. It's not my birthday
anymore. Anyway.
Hello. Before we move on to the next song, we at Swiftlore want to give a warm welcome to those who joined our Patreon in its very first week. Oh my gosh, we are so excited and thrilled and grateful, and I could literally go on forever and ever, but I won't for now. You guys are the real ones. You joined us so quickly, gave us so much love and support, so I want to give a thank you to Ashley, Lauren, Sassy Seppi, Em, and Tracy. Thank you again so much. Those who are on the Swiftest tier will shout your name out again at the end. Much love, and let's get back to the episode.
The albatross. She says, I should have had my notes pulled up, I think.
It's fine. Conceptually, you did.
Okay.
I don't know what an albatross looks like, and I'm here to admit that.
You're so brave. No, I'm kidding. I don't think you're brave. But
okay, wow. Get the fuck out of my house. There's a rat in my wall, and you're telling me I'm not brave.
Sorry, I just went full wheeze. Because oh my gosh. Wow, okay.
I know what you were saying. You hate me.
Okay. So what I'm saying is that it doesn't matter whether or not you know what an albatross looks like, because I went through the liberty of doing a deep dive on albatrosses and reading that whole Wikipedia page this afternoon. I know too much about albatross. Is it albatross? Except I don't know the plurality. Is it albatross or albatrosses? I don't know. That I did not look up.
I don't know. Albatrossi.
Albatrodes.
The snorting at your own joke just fucking hits.
Because I had
Why did the alba cross the road?
No, because I had an ex that was so adamant that it wasn't octopuses or octopi, it was octopodes. And was so adamant about it. And that's not true. So when I said albatrodes, that's why I was laughing so hard that I snorted. Now you know.
Because it was also a roast. I love that.
Anyway, The Albatross is the 19th track on Taylor's 11th album, Tortured Poets Department, the Anthology Edition. I covered another anthology track last week.
Another anthology track just now.
So this is the 19th track, and so I want to do my little mini deep dive on albatrosses. It is first bullet, a very large white seabird. Does that help?
Just like me for real.
No, come on, because I have obligatory. That's what they called me in college. Anyway, a very large white seabird has a 10-foot wingspan, which is about 300 centimeters.
You know what that means?
What?
Penis.
Come on. I'm trying to talk about birds here.
And I am trying to get on your 0-level depression.
Oh my goodness. Okay. All right.
I really wanted to start raining again so that after we record, we can go in the rain and record TikTok.
That would be fun.
Anyways.
That would be fun. Okay.
I just thought of that and needed to share.
They can live to be 50 years old. That's another albatross fun fact.
Wow, just like me. I can do it. I'm sorry, I'll stop.
The similarities between you and albatross, they just keep growing.
Have you ever seen us in the same room? Okay, I'll shut the fuck up now.
I don't think you will.
This is the self-fulfilling prophecy. I have an answer to my discussion question.
Okay. Alrighty. There is a Laysan albatross named Wisdom on Midway Island. It is the oldest known wild bird in the world. First banded in 1956 by Chandler Robbins, meaning this bird is over 70.
Damn.
Right?
Get it.
It is.
It being life.
No, I'm laughing because my next bullet is described in the Handbook of World Birds as the most legendary of all birds.
What's a poke card?
Oh my gosh. Whew. Sorry, this is really getting to me.
Is there a Pokemon based off an albatross? There has to be. It says legendary about it in the
No,
book of birds. There has to be a Pokemon.
There absolutely has to be a Pokemon. If there's an albatross Pokemon, please let us know. And then finally, there's a section on Wikipedia called Breeding and Dancing, which I thought was funny. And it's because they spend years practicing and perfecting their breeding rituals.
It's just like Happy Feet.
Oh, true. I wrote or Dirty Dancing. But also Happy Feet would be probably a better 1-to-1.
Nobody puts albatross in the corner. Mainly because it's too fucking big.
Oh, God. Sorry. Oh, now I've got the gigs. Okay. But there's also a metaphorical meaning.
I'm just picturing.
We're not done, I guess.
I'm just picturing somebody in a giant albatross costume being like, I'm the albatross. That's it.
That's it.
That's all that's on my mind, but I can't stop
Okay.
laughing, and I just needed you to
Okay,
know I'm
all
not
right.
just laughing at you. I'm laughing at
No, it's
my
okay.
weird little brain, too. It's both of us. Both of our weird little brains.
Maybe it's you. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's
the
us.
albatross.
Maybe it's the albatross. Oh, gosh. All right. So metaphorically, we can do this.
Yes, we can. We can.
All right. It comes from the poem The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, where the albatross is circling the ship. It was said to be lucky, and then one guy with a crossbow shoots it, kills it.
And then you gotta wear it.
I wrote, nice going, Ron.
That's kind of the vibe of like the
That
rest of
is.
the poem. It's just
That
like,
is.
nice going, Ron. Now you gotta wear it.
What,
And
am I allowed
knowing-
to shoot albatross?
So now you snowflakes. Now he can't shoot albatross.
Anyway, they force him to wear the albatross around his neck, which actually, now that I know that
Now that I know how big
10
they are.
feet,
It's either it was a baby or it's big as hell. Well, it's only its wingspan is 10 feet, so it probably
All right.
is like
That's
only a
still,
couple feet
like,
long.
that would
But
be-
still, that's a big
that's
ass
a
necklace.
heavy necklace.
I don't think even Flava Flav's neck could hold up to that.
Oh my God.
I'm so sorry. I will shut up.
No, please never do. All right. So that's where the phrase the albatross around your neck comes from. And whatever that thing is causes great problems or keeps you from doing the thing that you want to do. It's used a lot in pop culture, or referenced a lot in pop culture. The Albatross was performed one time on the Eras Tour, June 29th, 2024 in Dublin, mashed up with Dancing with Our Hands Tied.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because both are about like how your reputation is destroying your ability to find love.
And I haven't listened to that mashup, but I'd like to.
Me every day. Because every
Truly.
time one comes out, I'm just like, wow, that's amazing. I'm not going to listen to that.
I know. But sometimes they pop up on...
Sometimes, though, I look at them and I go, oh, that's so good. And then I check ticket prices for Toronto. And then I close out of all the StubHub windows again because I don't have $2,000 to spend on a ticket. Because also
Sad
if I
face.
went, I'm like, if I'm going again, I'm getting floor seats. But floor seats are so money.
So expensive. So money.
So subscribe to our Patreon so I can go to... Kidding.
Personal connections. The only two notes in my initial listener reactions, you can see why that was hard for me, were Cat pissed her pants at the Shakespeare reference and then a bunch of crying emojis.
That's, yeah, pretty much.
I ranked it originally at 10 and now it's at 7 for those who care about my ranking system.
It's me. I care.
I'm glad you care. All right. The melody for this one is totally seared into my brain. After the album settled a bit, I listened to this one on repeat, like Kat listened to The Prophecy on repeat. And now we get into the lyrics. So the first line of the song, wise men once said, wild winds are death to the candle. So firstly, it kind of reminds me of the first line in I Can't Help Falling in Love with You, because it's like, wise men say only fools rush in. And so this is saying wise men once said, So there's an element of trust in this. Like the men are wise, so they're correct in what they're saying. Also reference to boys will be boys, where are the wise men? So wild winds are death to the candle. These wild winds blow the candle out. So she is the wild winds that are blowing out the light and destroying the light. We get into a rose by any other name is a scandal. This is the reference that Kat pissed her pants at.
It's Romeo and Juliet. Shakespeare.
And so there's that scene in Romeo and Juliet where she says a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. Basically, no matter what his name was, even though they're forbidden because of their families, she would still love him. So this line is saying, no matter what this is labeled, it's still going to be a scandal. It's still going to cause issues. It doesn't matter. So it's a lot more negative version.
I mean, it's kind of similar because, like, in that scene, she's just like, wherefore art thou, Romeo? Like, why are you Romeo? Because that means we can't be together.
Right. That's true. Also, roses symbolize love and passion. Taylor mentioned Romeo and Juliet also in Love Story. This is my first time doing the notes like this, so the method is still working on it.
The method is still methoding.
Cautions issued. He stood shooting the messengers. So these wise men said, hey, she's going to cause you problems. And the guy said, yeah, well,
Die.
That's literally what he said. That's literally what he said. Couldn't have said it better myself, Kat. All right.
That's why I had to talk over you.
So then we get to that line. They tried to warn him about her. I think it's interesting how in this song, part of it focuses on her and then part of it is me. I'm the albatross. She's the albatross. That'll be my discussion question, so we'll put a little pin in it.
I have thoughts.
I'm sure you do.
I never stop thinking.
So then we get into the chorus. It starts with, cross your thoughtless heart, which is an amazing line because first she's saying, like, so there's the phrase, cross your heart and hope to die, which basically means promise me. Like, it's a very intense promise. And this is saying, cross your thoughtless heart. So, like, it's reckless to make this promise.
Yeah. She's just like, you're going to cross your thoughtless, like, you're crossing your heart saying you're going to be with me, but, like, you're not thinking it through.
Exactly.
Like, you're not thinking about all these consequences because if you did, then you wouldn't want to be with me.
Yeah.
Because that's the prophecy.
Someone said, this is going to be he went, poof.
And then he goes, anybody else think this is going to be a problem? And then somebody else was just like, I just think.
Anyway, not to giggle about murder, but like, but it's right there. All right. Only liquor anoints you. So anointing someone is a religious practice. There's quite a bit of religion in the song, where you use oil or water to make someone divine or holy. And saying only liquor anoints you, Genius had this quote. They said, the only time the partner, Swift, is describing experiences, wow, hold on. This quote doesn't make sense.
Divinity or like holiness?
Yeah. The only time the partner Swift is describing experiences influence akin to the divine is when they are drinking, again emphasizing their thoughtlessness. I don't know if I agree with that take.
I don't know if I do, but I see where it's coming from.
People were saying alcoholism, and that's not the way that I read it.
I was reading it more as like when they're drunk is like the only time that they can let go of all of these preconceived notions.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, like the only time he would just like throw caution to the wild winds would be when he drunk.
When, in the words of Taylor Swift,
I'm
drunk in the back of the car.
She's the albatross. She is here to destroy you. So these are the words that the messengers were trying to say. And this whole thing kind of reminds me of Nothing New, where it's soaring through the sky. They shoot you down and sigh and say, it looks like she's been through it. And I had that image in my brain the whole time I was writing these notes. And so I kind of get confused on the interpretation of the song because I see it a couple ways. But I already mentioned like what an albatross is, and they're warning him of this. Like if he's in this relationship and he breaks her heart, she's going to write about him. There's going to be backlash. She's going to wear the shame around his neck. She's the albatross.
I mean, yeah, that's very true because, I mean, we've talked before about like men are irrelevant. Taylor Swift is forever. And like, but a lot of Taylor's exes like will still get shit on even like a decade after they've broken up.
And it's a lot. And I know that like, some people will be like, why would anyone want to date Taylor Swift because of what her exes go through? And it's unfortunate that we do have to consider that, like, above all, like, we hear her songs, we weren't in the relationship and we don't know these people, but these exes have been attacked quite a bit.
Yeah.
Then we get into the second verse. Wise men once said, one bad seed kills the garden. So the one bad seed being the albatross, the relationship, this woman can kill the garden, can destroy your life. Just continuing that.
Yeah, like it's like an invasive species. If
Yeah.
you plant it, it's just going to overtake and it will thrive, but it'll kill everything in its path.
Yeah. And this verse has a double quote, because then we got another quote from these wise men. One less temptress, one less dagger to sharpen. They're kind of only speaking in like poetic quips.
It's because they're so wise.
Yeah, exactly. Like we have wild winds are death to the candle, one bad seed kills the garden, one less temptress, one less dagger to sharpen. They're just speaking in these things, and I don't know. I think it's interesting. But basically saying, if he doesn't engage with the albatross, you won't have to defend yourself later and pull out their daggers. There's a lot to say about the wise men calling this woman a temptress and a bad seed for entering the garden, especially if you consider the whole Adam and Eve thing. I cannot believe we both talked about Adam and Eve.
I was also thinking, do you think all the wise men quotes are the prophecies?
It could be. Yeah.
So these are even more related than both making us cry. Who knew?
Who knew?
But yes, Adam and Eve,
Yeah.
not Adam and Steve.
I think about that all the time. Don't dead name Eve. I love that meme. Anyway. All right.
Never heard that before.
Oh, really? It's Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. Don't dead name Eve.
I love it.
Right? Anyway. So Taylor also teased this lyric early as part of the Tortured Poets Department Spotify pop-up at the Grove in Los Angeles. Locked me up in towers, but I visited in your dreams. Like, tried to keep her away, but she already had, like, you know, intruded and killed the garden, basically.
I can't stop you putting roots in my dreamland.
Yeah. Or in Is It Over Now? When she says, come here, I whispered in your ear in your dream as you passed out. But also...
in your wildest dreams.
Yeah, lots of dreams happening. We also switched to her point of view here, where she says, locked me up in towers, but I'd visit in your dreams. So this is when the story focuses onto who's singing. I kind of popped off with this. They can't keep her locked away. She's already grown like ivy over his house of stone.
It's a sleigh.
It's a sleigh. And they tried to warn you about me. So again, they tried to warn you, but then you shot them.
They were like, oh, you don't think this is going to work out? I don't think your living is going to work out.
So we get back.
We had it coming.
We get back to the chorus. Cross your thoughtless heart. Only liquor anoints you. She's the albatross. So we're back to she. She's here to destroy you. Then we get to devils that you know raise worse hell than a stranger.
True.
Great line. It's like if someone that you care about, that you love, stabs you in the back, it hurts a lot more than someone you don't know.
I think of that line as like, if somebody that you love and respect tells you like, ooh, you should think about this relationship. Like, this might not end well for you. Like, that matters a lot more than like strangers on the internet.
That's
if like
true.
the people in your actual life don't support you, then like that's actually hard, as opposed to like the Hannahs and whatever's in their Sunday best.
So the question is he close with the wise men?
We don't know.
Interesting.
Because are the wise men the devils? Or are the wise men like the online people who think they know everything? And then the devils are the people that they actually know.
Yeah, that's true. And then also in the Archer, all of my enemies started out friends. That's what that reminded me of. She's the death you chose. You're in terrible danger. So it's talking about like the prophecy that she chose, right? Or like, the curse. So now she's become the messenger, because we get into this next part where she's trying to warn him as well. So we get to the bridge. And when the sky rains fire on you, I don't think this bridge is that.
Yeah.
So in the bridge, it's when the sky rains fire on you. It's a biblical idea. Basically, when the sky rains fire, it's divine punishment for committing sins. So he is now considered to have committed sin. Now he's persona non grata, which is a Latin term for an unwelcome person. Like, he now has, his reputation has been tanked and brought down to hers. But now that that's happened, I'll tell you I've been there too, and that none of it matters. which reminds me, like, she's going to stick by his side. And it reminds me of Lavender Haze and Sweet Nothing, when the partner was just like, everything out there happening doesn't matter. I'll be here with you. And we're back to her point of view here, which is interesting how it keeps swapping.
Yeah. And also, like, would it be enough if I could never give you peace?
Yeah. Yeah. Verse 3, wise men once read fake news and they believed it, which is, everyone does that because there's so much shit on the internet now.
Oh my God. And also, like, media literacy
Yeah.
is on the decline.
95% of what you see on the internet is just blatant lies, and then the last 5% is taken out of context.
Yeah.
But people read it and then develop these ideas, and then that's what they believe. And so she's saying that these men think that they're wise, but they read this fake news and they believed it, and they're basing all of their wisdom off of that. Mm-hmm. It reminds me of the people that are just like, Taylor only writes about her ex-boyfriends, but that's just so not true.
Yeah, or it's like, oh, well, this song is about XYZ person because blah, blah, blah. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm sorry, are you Taylor Swift?
Right.
No? Then you don't fucking know what the song is about. Because
Exactly.
actually, all of her songs are about me. And you didn't say that, so you're wrong.
Jackals raised their hackles. You couldn't conceive it. So these wise men turned into jackals, or like these wild dogs, as if they knew, and they're now like aggressively preparing to fight him. And he realizes that there's not these holy wise men. They're just...
He did shoot a couple of them. I'm going to say, you know what?
Okay, so maybe they should be ready to fight back.
But also, they started the fight. You started it.
That's true. You were sleeping soundly when they dragged you from your bed, and I tried to warn you about them. So he didn't believe her warnings about who these men were, so he wasn't worried about it, and then he was thrown in with the dogs. Literally. Well, metaphorically, but literally based on her lyrics.
Literally, metaphorically.
Literally. So then we get to the last chorus here. She changes to I for the last chorus. So I crossed my thoughtless heart, spread my wings like a parachute. She did what she was meant to do. She started flying. She did the giant white seabird that people find legendary. Like, that's what she embraced. She sort of reclaimed the title of the albatross. I'm the albatross. I swept in at the rescue. I don't know why I wrote down from... I'm not even going to say that. All right.
Well, because also that's the other thing is, like, albatrosses were seen as a symbol of good luck. And that's why killing one was so bad. So they're all just... Because, that's like the wise men are misinterpreting this. They read the Rime of the Ancient Mariner and they said, oh, the albatross is a bad thing. But it's like, no, killing the albatross was the bad thing.
Right.
And
The
you're
albatross
so focused
itself.
on the wrong thing. So, like, saying she's the albatross is not the, denouncement flex that you think it is.
It's kind of like the prophecy that you were talking about, where like you think that you can prevent the prophecy by doing a certain thing and that it's just going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I swept in at the rescue. The devil that you know looks now more like an angel. So everything that he's been told, it's like, oh, they were wrong.
Yeah.
I'm the life you chose in all this terrible danger. So he chose to do this, to be with her, despite all the consequences. Now she looks like an angel. They're still in danger, but that's the life he chose. Genius.
It's fine because she knows places.
Yeah. A genius said 2 graves, 1 gun, which hurt me.
Well, that was fucking rude.
It is.
Genius. Go to therapy, genius.
For real. And I have a lot to say about the interpretation, because the main one...
I see that note.
I know. The main one is like what's on the tin. He was warned. He dated her anyway. Shit hits the fan. She stays there beside him to support him, showing that she's not the devil that they told him she'd be. And then she embraces being an albatross, rescues him from the controversy. But secondarily, he knew the risks. She told him the same risks. Like, if you break up with me, I will write about you and people could attack you because of it. And then he did it anyway, thinking that if he just ignored it all and stayed under the radar, he wouldn't be attacked. So they both fell into a false sense of security, thinking this time would be different. She crossed her thoughtless heart and embraced herself and the relationship as this beautiful, graceful being. And he broke up with her, shooting her down and killing her. Now that he's wearing her around his neck, he realizes that she was never the threat. It was everybody else.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
I had a lot to
I got
say.
chills.
I had a lot to say.
Are we going to talk about pronouns now?
Yeah, that's the discussion question. What are those?
I think that when she's saying she's relaying the things that other people have said about her. And then when she's saying it's like her actual opinions.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. And that makes sense. It's just interesting because it wasn't in quotations.
Yeah. So I think that it's kind of like telling of the way that she just like flexes, because we know from like a lot of her other songs that we've talked about that she internalizes a lot of these things that she's heard about herself. So it's like the difference between Taylor Swift the person and Taylor Swift TM the commodity.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, Taylor Swift TM.
Oh, that's true.
Is like this, but like I'm the albatross who's going to rescue you, but she's the albatross that is here to destroy you.
Yeah. No, that's true. Actually. You're right.
Those English degrees be working. Overtime.
My sign language degree be like.
The best part is that the camera died.
Doesn't even,
So
I can't
it's
do
like
it.
But also just
bit.
to just Abby just kind of raised her hand and then was like, the camera's not going. Just kind of put it back down. So it's like me being like English degree flex, and she was like, my sign language, it doesn't matter.
What was it gonna do? Yeah. So there you go. That's the Albatross.
It's here for the rescue.
Both excellent songs.
Both bangers.
Off that back half of the Tortured Poets Department.
So my hint song for next week is Labor by Paris Paloma.
Mine is Where Is My Mind by Pixies.
And one more special shout out that we'll put the actual names in after, but to our Swiftest tier, which is our highest tier on the Patreon. They get all the exclusive, like the Swift Lore After Dark, which we discovered the acronym is SAD.
Thank you all who have subscribed on Patreon or pledged or whatever it's called on Patreon so far. We all love you so much. We're really excited to get started.
I'm so excited. It's so fun to have like another way to interact with you guys.
We'll have our first hangout at the end of the month. We're still kind of deciding what that's going to be. Probably a movie situation.
We just have to figure out the legalities.
Yeah, so that'll be really great. So thank you so much. And then, we still have tons of free content. We have clips of our episodes, random things on our Instagram story, et cetera, et cetera. Sometimes we post memes when we have the time to make memes on our Instagram.
In this economy?
On our Instagram at SwiftLorePod.
And on our TikTok at SwiftLorePod.
And our Patreon is patreon.com/SwiftLorePodcast if you want to look it up that way.
And if you go on any of our social medias, our link tree has links to all of the things.
Yeah.
So you can
good time.
You can be there, you can be square. Up to you.
Up to you. Up to you.
I'm looking at the camera like it's on. It's not.
And I think that's it for today.
Crispy high five?
Yeah. Let's be crispy.
Crisp.
Thanks again to our #1 fans on the Swiftest tier of our Patreon. Ashley, Sassy Seppi, M, Tracy. Oh my goodness. Oh wow. Okay. I would literally write a song for you guys right now if I wasn't so freaking tired, but my heart is singing. Please know my heart is singing, and cats too. I know. You guys hear from us in the group chat. You've seen our Swift Lore After Dark. You've seen the things that so many others have not seen, and we are so grateful for it. So, thank you again so much. And until next time.
When I started crying, baby, you did too, because we were both listening to the prophecy. And I got a fucking rat in my wall. And my car broke down last week.
Is this fucking song about me? Is this fucking play about us?